Hey guys, Josh Porter here at Porter Valley Ranch, and I have Lovey here, who is a 6-week-old Harlequin lamb ewe. I also have Hope and Joy. They're about 3 months old, and all three of these lambs were born this year at Porter Valley Ranch. This was our first year raising sheep. It was also our first lambing season. Lambing season is a time of year that is extremely fun. It can be extremely exciting. It can also be extremely stressful. Animals are unpredictable, and nature, the weather, is also unpredictable. So whenever you take two things that are unpredictable, sometimes it puts you into a stressful situation. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk you through the process of some of the things we did whenever our lambs were born, and also some of the supplies that you can buy in advance, so that when the day comes that your lambs are born, it's more enjoyable and less stressful. So for our lambing kit, what we did was we purchased this toolbox at Walmart. It's got a couple different layers to it. It's got different configurations, but that way you can put everything in here. So whenever our lambs were born, we've got some videos that you can go watch about that. But the first time our lambs were born, we were pretty caught off guard. We didn't know exactly when it was going to happen. We anticipated, but of course it happened when we were at work and we came home and it was late and it was cold and we were scrambling around to get some of the items that we needed. So for the next round, what we've decided to do is put everything we think we're going to need into this toolkit. So on the top layer of the toolkit, the basics that you're always going to need are some towels. You always need some nice, clean, dry towels. So when the lambs are born, especially if you live in a cold climate, sometimes they require a little bit of help to help get them dried off. If you're around there, you definitely want towels for you and for them. In the first couple hours of a lamb being born, you are there. You are making sure that it gets dry. You're making sure that it is getting cleaned off, that it can breathe properly, which brings us to the top layer of our lambing kit. So some of the things that you can have just in case, you can have a thermometer. A lot of problems can be diagnosed with the temperature, both of the mother and of the lamb. You're gonna need one of these little nasal syringes. If for some reason it does not get its airways cleaned out, you can use this to clear some of the mucus from its nose. You can use it just to make sure that things are getting cleaned out and that it can breathe properly. You're also going to need some antiseptic wipes. Anything that you use, anything that you touch, you're going to want to make sure that it's clean. Farming sometimes gets a little dirty, but you have to remember that things that you're doing whenever you're giving animals shots and things like that, it's still a medical process, and you want to make sure that you're keeping your equipment clean. Now, on the next layer of our lambing kit, we've got a couple of supplies in here. Some gloves. It's always good to wear gloves. These are just plastic gloves whenever you are dealing with the animals, whenever you're dealing with afterbirth, any of that kind of stuff. It gets a little messy. So make sure you're wearing gloves. It's for the best. It's safe for you, safe for them. The next thing is, if you are watching the lamb and the lamb is having trouble nursing, you can sometimes clean off the teats. You can use those alcohol wipes for that. Also, if she is not nursing and she is not urinating, then you are going to want to step in and make sure that they get some sort of nutrition. The easiest way to do that is to have some of this lamb milk replacer on hand. You don't want to get caught where the lamb's born, you're watching, you feel like there's a problem, you feel like your instinct says you need to step in, and then you have to run to the store and get it. So go ahead and pick up a bag of this, it's not that expensive, and have it on hand in case something happens. We have not had to use this yet. All of our ewes have taken care of the lambs, but we have it just in case. We also have these little screw-ons. You can put these on a water bottle, so you can mix the milk replacer in a water bottle, put these on, and you are good to go. So just keep them in the packaging so they stay clean, and keep it inside of your lambing kit. Even if you think that the ewe is doing a good job of raising the lamb, you have to make sure that the ewe stays healthy also. Something that we like to do is to put this electrolyte formula in the water. It's kind of like Gatorade for animals. So it just makes sure that they stay hydrated. There's a lot of trauma going that happens during birthing process. Obviously, whenever one of the lambs is nursing, especially if they have twins or triplets, it really pulls them down. So putting this in their water helps replenish those electrolytes. It makes them drink a little bit more because they like the taste. So we like to put that in their water. Don't mix up a lot of it at a time, just like a 5-gallon bucket at a time. They'll usually go through most of that 5-gallon bucket throughout the day, and just keep that fresh for them all through the first couple of weeks. Also, we like to use this Nutri-Drench. We give this to the lamb and to the mom right after birth. Just within a couple of hours, just a couple of squirts. You can put it in one of these drench guns. If you don't have one of these, then you definitely need a couple of these on hand. These are great for whenever you're giving medications. We give ivermectin wormer. We give that orally through one of these. Like I said, the Nutri-Drench, Power Punch for goats. So keep these on hand. This is a way just to ensure that they get a little boost of vitamins. It smells like a Flintstone vitamin, if you guys remember those from our childhood. So if you get it on your hands, people are going to think you're eating Flintstone vitamins for a couple of days because it will not wash off. So again, wear your gloves whenever you're doing that. Now, as the lamb starts to get a little bit older, there's a couple things that you're going to want to do. One of which is to clip the umbilical cord. So we always keep scissors on hand. You can also use like 10-snip shears, but the umbilical cord is not real hard to cut through. So make sure that your scissors are clean. We cut it about 1 inch from their body, and then we coat it or dip it into iodine or triiodine. I don't know what the difference is, but if you dip it in that, it helps it to stay clean. It also helps it to dry faster. So you're gonna wanna cut that umbilical cord, clip it off, and then dip it in the iodine, and that will help them stay healthy. Another thing that you're going to want to keep inside of your lambing kit are just some general medical items that you might need. We always keep an antibiotic like LA200 on hand. We always have ivermectin wormer close by hand. We give them Covexin, at a pretty early age. So just keeping a stash of the syringes and needles in your lambing kit is always a good idea. You never know when you're going to need them. So it's best to keep them clean. These are not very expensive, and I know it's easy just to reuse them, but you really want to do it the right way. So use the syringe, use the needle. When you're done, go ahead and throw it away and get a new one. If you keep those on hand, then you won't be tempted to reuse them. Lovey was born in one of the coldest stretches in Oklahoma history. It got below 0 for a couple days in a row, and she was born right in the middle of that. And I don't know how many times I Googled how cold is too cold for a lamb, and I got a lot of different answers. The truth is, if it's below freezing, then you need to provide some sort of heat source for these lambs. You want them, when they are born, you want it to be above freezing. So if you need to provide a heater or bring them inside or have a heat lamp, whatever your choice is, all of those have pros and cons. But you want to make sure that you're keeping it above freezing, especially when they're first born. And then after they're first born, you need to keep it above about 15 degrees, because anything below that, especially if they're out in the elements with the wind, they can get frostbite. They have a lot of exposed skin, especially when they're first born, and anything like on their nose or their ears, they can get frostbite on those things. So try to keep it as warm as possible, but also as safe as possible. Heat lamps, heaters inside, anything like that always has the potential of creating a hazard. So make sure that you are following safe protocols and procedures whenever you do that, and only provide as much as necessary. So after a few days, hopefully the lamb and the ewe are bonding and doing well, nursing's going well, all of those things. So then you're going to need to move into the next phase. There are a couple steps that you want to take within the first couple of days to the first week to make sure that it's done properly. So we're going to move down to the next level of our lambing kit, and we are going to talk about this little contraption right here. If you do not have one of these, you're going to need it, because you need to dock their tails, which means you need to make their tails shorter. Now your first thought's probably going to be to cut them off, and that's not the way that we're going to do it. We are going to take one of these little rubber bands, you slip it onto this tool, which is called an illustrator. You stretch it, you slip it up the tail, and you let it go and pull the thing off. This little rubber band is going to stay on their tail. gonna be there for probably a couple of weeks, and then the tail is actually just going to fall off. So again, there are some videos that tell you exactly how to do this. It is very simple. Now I will warn you, I watched a lot of videos about how to dock a lamb's tail. None of the ones I saw told you is when you do this, the lamb acts like they are dying for a few minutes. They act like they can't walk. They act like their back legs are paralyzed. It is pretty traumatic to watch, but it goes away very quickly. So if you are doing this for the first time, you need to be aware that when you put this band onto their tail, they might have trouble walking, they might fall down. It's pretty traumatic. I don't recommend having your kids around because mine were, and it was pretty traumatic for them, but it will go away very quickly. So watch them for 10-20 minutes, make sure that they get back to normal. Eventually the feeling kind of goes numb and they get back to normal, then that will fall off within the next couple of weeks. Another step you're going to want to take early on, if you can, is to tag their ears. So you need one of these Ytex taggers or whatever brand you want, and we got custom tags that have our PVR logo on them. We thought it would be kind of neat. It's got our website on there, so if we sell one of our animals to someone else, then they can always track them back to us. Maybe you don't want that to happen, but we thought it would be neat because we're kind of sharing our stories, so we want anyone who purchases one of our animals to also be able to share in our story. So today's video was really just kind of a synopsis, just scratching the surface. The main thing we wanted to share with you is there's information. We talked about the Stories Guide to Raising Sheep. That has a lot of good information in it. You want to make sure and have your record keeping book so that you can keep records of who was born when and what kind of shots or immunizations they got. But you also want to watch a lot of YouTube videos and figure out what's going on. But the main thing that we're trying to share with you today is to be prepared. So you don't necessarily have to have a fancy system like this. You could take all of these supplies and you could just put them in a 5-gallon bucket and keep it in your barn or your garage. The main thing is you just want to be prepared because animals are unpredictable. You might know about the time that your lambs are going to be born, but you almost never know exactly when it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen when it's most inconvenient for you. So to make your life easier, to make the birthing process more enjoyable for everyone, be prepared, get your supplies, at least the basics, in a lambing kit like we've shown you today. And then make sure that you have a veterinarian who you know you can trust in case something goes wrong. There are problems that can happen when lambing, and some of those things we don't feel qualified to tell you how to handle because we don't feel qualified to handle them ourselves. So have a veterinarian who you know you can call if something does go wrong, that you can refer to, that you can trust with some of the serious issues that can happen when a ewe is going into the birthing process. For the most part though, it usually goes pretty smooth. Animals are amazing, they are resilient, and when it comes to birthing and maternal instincts, a lot of the times it just goes as smooth as could be, and you're just an innocent bystander that can stand there in awe of the process that God has created. And at the end of the day, you get an awesome new addition to your farm that you can enjoy and your kids can enjoy. You can post pictures and put them on Instagram and all the great things that we do today. So as long as you are prepared, it's going to be awesome. So good luck. Feel free to post in the comments anything that you think that is necessary that we forgot. We understand that there's a lot of different things, especially supplements and things that you can give lambs when they're small. You could have a box 10 times this size with all of the things that could happen and that you might need, but these are just some of the basics that we feel like you're always going to need. So again, thanks for watching Porter Valley Ranch. We're all learning together, we're all having fun, we're all growing, and we hope that you will stick around and watch some of our other videos. Go watch the video of little Lovey being born, or Hope and Joy. That was a pretty cool experience for us and our family, and we will see you guys on the next video.